Welcome, folks. This is Acid Roots. We're going to talk about the DMX movie soundtrack, Cradle to the Grave. So this was at a particular point for DMX where his career was kind of at a crossroads just because the albums were not doing as much damage as his earlier ones. He was doing movies, and it was kind of like, well, what exactly are we going to get the Darkman X from 1998 again? And so the big thing about that was, DMX is very capable of dropping hit songs. He does it all the time, and he definitely does it on this soundtrack, which is anchored by the song X Gon' Give It To You. So that's thumping. It's definitely one that you need to hear. It's catchy, and it's, at the time it might have been worthwhile to just go out and get the project for it, but now it's like, and I kind of assume that this is what most folks are thinking, is we're going to need a few more songs to warrant buying a movie soundtrack. Now, just depending upon the price because of this project's age, but to help you out, DMX is on 3 or 4 songs on this album. So really, out of 19, that lets you know that he's on 3 songs, and he is also on 3 of the best songs on this project. So, the movie is kind of a movie similar to Rush Hour, except it's rated R, and the co-star of this project of that movie besides DMX is Jet Li. So that's something to expect if you want to go out and check that out. I assume that you probably will know the movie before you know the soundtrack, but if you don't, that's something to look up. And really, it's got some bonus stuff on here. So the main thing is I'm going to let you know that really this project is not that noteworthy, and I'm going to guess that most folks are getting it for DMX. So thing is that the problem with soundtracks is that we don't necessarily get the most fiery type songs. I still like to review them because they're kind of secret songs, and I feel like X Gon' Give It To You was kind of like, a pretty well-sized hit. Kind of like Eminem only really appeared or did like movie soundtracks like a handful of times, and I feel like, rappers who become actors need to do this. I think it's almost like a requirement. If you're going to be in a movie, that you put out a hit song. Doesn't have to hit #1, but it would help if it charted. And that's just an extra stuff to keep, fans in tandem with having a good time. And, DMX definitely did that. It's worthwhile to say that he didn't disappoint, but we probably could have used him a couple more times. And possibly the only other problem with DMX is I think he was involved with Rough Riders, but we really don't see that sort of heat on this project. So that's really the only other thing. I think the Drag-On guy was on here, but I just didn't feel the song that he dropped. There's really not that many folks who are like A-list or B-list stars on this project, which is the only problem. But, out of 19 songs, I did like 5, and 3 of them are the DMX songs, so that's worthwhile. Of the songs that you need to hear, X Gon' Give It To You, Go to Sleep, which is an Eminem song. DMX is also on this song, and then we have Obi Trice. After that, we have Follow Me Gangsta by 50 Cent and G-Unit. We have Drop Drop by Joe Budden. He's from Slaughterhouse. That's an extra thing. That's affiliated with Eminem. And we also have Right Wrong by DMX. So all of these, there's only one other song, which is the last song that DMX is on, but I didn't enjoy that one. And it's good to see. Now, obviously, this probably pumped the movie somewhat, knowing that this song was with it. But it's kind of, I don't know, it just kind of feels strange reflecting on the fact that you know, DMX's stature is different from what it was back in 2003. So you have to deal with that, but it's still good. You know, it's definitely, I look at that when I look at 2003, the fact that that was a long time ago, and a lot of folks from this era are not here, but, you know, it's good to look back on this, find some extra DMX songs. So the only question from that point is how long you're going to be riding with this music. I mean, were you to discover it and decide, it's kind of like, well, you know, for a couple, 3 good DMX songs, how long is this going to keep my attention before it's on the shelf again? So that's about the only problem I can think with that. And from there, I'm going to give this album a 3.5 out of 10, because 5 out of 19, that's about a fourth, so that would get like a 2.5 out of 10, but I like the songs. So 3.5 out of 10. Find the movie somehow if you haven't already seen it. And the social score, I will give it a 3.5 social also, which just means how well it plays around your friends when you're with them and you listen to the music. This music, it has the single, it has an Eminem song, has DMX songs on here, but it just doesn't have enough to carry it. But it's good. It's good for soundtrack standards. I mean, I know a lot of soundtracks don't get monumental scores, but it did have a charting song. X Gon' Give It To You did chart, so know that. And jaw's cracking. That's about it. You know, the future, there really wasn't a sequel to this, so the only thing left is just, can this record be topped? And I think yes, it can. Subscribe for more fun.